Hey everybody, I'm Jack and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. I'm having a really good Monday morning here so far, changing some things up here the last 6 weeks before I go back to Costa Rica, and just wanted to start it off with a bang, and so I have done. Today I want to talk about the raw food diet, health, money, travel, etc., and talk about what's holding you back. I do videos every day, so if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscribe button now so you can come back and check out some more of my content, and then click on the little bell and check send notifications so YouTube won't unsubscribe you from the channel. In some ways this is going to be a little bit of a continuation of the talk I did yesterday on adjustment. This is kind of more of a big picture thing, talking about the process of achieving things, getting things, just getting what we want and not being held back in life. A lot of times what you really have to do, you got to be realistic. You know, what is holding you back? What do you want? Do you have, how do you know? Do you know what you want? Do you have clear defined goals? I'm not necessarily one of those goal type people, but I'm getting there. I've been one of those in the past that can be rather vague. And hey, you know, if you don't like really hone in on and define what you want, how can you figure out how to get it? So first of all, you should have clearly defined goals. And I like to have short-term, medium-term, and long-term. And one of the things is, like I say, this is going to be a lot about the process today. A lot about the process, and that's why I'm changing up some of the habits that some of my habits and some of the things that the rut that I've kind of gotten into in certain ways. And I just wanted to kind of share this because I think, like I say, this isn't in relation to the food for me, but a lot of this stuff, the process, always the process, is a process, whether it's about food, whether it's about your job, your money, career, goals you have, travel, leisure, relationship, whatever. I think the same thought process can be applied to all of them. Now, one of the things you have to figure out along the way is what is the obstacles. The first thing to getting to where you want to go is, what are the obstacles in your way? And are these obstacles real? Or are these obstacles imagined? Because there's different types of obstacles out there. You know, there are real obstacles. No matter what we try to do in life, there are going to generally, for most things, anything that's worth having, anything that takes a little effort, there's going to be some obstacles. But also, too, our mind tends to create obstacles. So one of the first steps is just differentiating these. Okay, what are my real obstacles? What are the real concerns, the real issues that I have to overcome? And what are the obstacles that I'm just kind of creating in my mind that aren't real? They don't exist, but they're still obstacles because they exist in my mind. So those are kind of things you have to work out for yourself. And then it all comes down to problem solving. You know, I've talked about that part as part of the process before too. You figure out what's not working, you identify it, and then you work on solving that. I'll give you I'll kind of give you a little example into mine. My mornings, now I get a good bit done during the day, and I've been picking up, my momentum's been picking up more and more over the last couple of months, and really shifting into high gear the last few weeks, the last month. But there's still a part of my day that bothers me, that I haven't liked, and I've been wanting to do something about that for a while, is when I'm here. It's even worse here. Like when I'm down in Costa Rica, you know, I get out and do stuff early in the morning, so I kind of get going. But here, I kind of have this routine of, I get out of bed, I like to come in here where I'm shooting the video right now, and on the days that we get a newspaper, I sit and read the newspaper, drink some tea. Then I get on the computer, but I generally just kill and waste a good bit of time. And a lot of times I get up around 7 o'clock. By the time I actually get to my desk and start, you know, getting something done productive, it's like 9:30 or so. And, you know, there's periods throughout the day where I'll work for a little while, then I get distracted. So I'm working on these habits of mine. So today, first thing, I wanted to shake things up. part of that too, and I haven't been as diligent, even though I do have a daily meditation practice. Part of that when I got started was to do it first thing in the morning as part of that early morning ritual, because I remember reading well, I read it, but it just makes sense. I've read this same idea from a lot of different people. About a year or so ago, I started reading about the importance of habits in the morning, having that routine, and how psychologically that kind of sets the tone for the day because you're getting things accomplished early on. Now, I'm not at that point yet. One guy that I really respect, he was talking about one day, he makes his bed every morning because he says that's an accomplishment and that's an easy accomplishment. And once you start making these little accomplishments early in the day, it just kind of gets a mindset going and it rolls. But what I wanted to do today, and I said, okay, I'm not going to fall into that normal thing. So very first thing this morning, and I oil pull a lot of mornings, but I said, you know what, I'm going to make this just part of that morning habit. First thing I got up this morning, I oil pulled for 20 minutes. When I had spit out my oil, had a drink of water, I decided, okay, it's time to go to meditation. Boom, boom, those two things accomplished. All right, now what do? Do I go sit down and read the paper, look into the computer? No, let's do something completely different. So I went down to the park. I put my shorts on, put some shoes on, went down, walked around the park, shot a little Instagram stuff, just basically got out and breathed some fresh air, saw a bunch of squirrels running around playing, saw a bunch of birds. We've already gone into spring here, so there were robins everywhere. Set that tone. Soon as I got back here, made fresh orange juice, went straight to my desk and started doing stuff. Did a little bit of finishing work to get ready for this talk, and started a new blog post for all the people. But just to butt in there for a minute, for all the people I keep saying, hey, come subscribe to the blog. Things are going to start happening. I'm at a breaking point from the design stuff now, so I'm doing a blog post today. And got like 2 or 3 already planned. But so I got to that, started organizing. I'm realizing that if I want to be able to make this Costa Rica thing where I can just come back and forth at will, like I want to, a reality, I have to do things. And I have to be kind of focused and disciplined when I'm in Costa Rica. I'm going to have a lot of fun while I'm there, but I need to establish these habits and these patterns now because there's a lot to get done down there. I mean, I want to really shake up this channel. I've got a lot of video work planned for down there. I've got a lot of content creation planned. I've got a lot of social media stuff planned. But I've still got to do my money hustle while I'm there. So I have to be working every day on the t-shirt business, on design, on uploading designs, on marketing those, on what have you. So, problem solving. You identify the obstacles that are holding you back. You come up with a plan. You start problem solving, and having that routine and having these certain things that you do every day is going to help you with that. Your habits, your daily habits, are they reflecting your goals? You know, people talk about they want to do this raw food diet, you know, and they want to be fully raw, or they want to be at this level, or they want to lose this amount of weight, or whatever, or people say, hey, I want to be able to travel, those kind of goals. Do your habits reflect your goals? You know, you can speak, like, you got to line up what you're saying, what you want, what your expectations, what your hopes are with some actions. Because look, I'm kind of in between all this kind of woo-woo stuff, positive affirmations. Positive affirmations, to me, they can fall one way or the other. I'm not saying they're bad. In fact, they can be very powerful. But there's the people that just kind of like sit around and use them as some sort of a chant without any intention behind them, without any action behind them. Positive affirmations are supposed to inspire you to act. They're not something, you can't just sit around and repeat them over and over and somehow think some magic power in the universe is a poof going to bestow, you know, what you want. All of a sudden, you know, you're going to lose the weight, you're going to get healthy, you're going to get a promotion at your job, you're going to make that extra money to travel, you know. There's always, you got to learn like this hustle mentality. I'm kind of glad I'm getting back into this hustle mentality. You figure out a way. You know, a lot of these obstacles, people think obstacles, they can't get over these obstacles. Like, let's say money, for instance. I'll just delve into money for a minute, and I can even go back and relate this to the raw food diet. People talk about a lot of times like, well, it's easy to say, but not everybody can afford a raw food diet. A raw food diet's expensive, this and that. Well, let me pull a little of the stuff I listen to and related to the hustle in there, like some Gary Vaynerchuk. He tells people all the time when they say something about a business or a project they have, well, I can't do it. I don't have the money to do it. I'll do it when I get the money to do it. He says, get out there and flip stuff. Get out there and flip stuff. Mix your worlds. You don't have the money for a raw food diet? Get out there and hustle on the weekend. You know, go to garage sales, learn how to flip stuff on eBay. That's something I really wanted to get into. And if you go back, say maybe a year in my videos, 9, 10 months when I was in Costa Rica, I kind of had an idea I might do that as a hustle to make a little money while I was here. Didn't turn out to be that practical for me because I have I'm driving my mother's car, which is an old car, which I've been trying to kind of baby and keep it going. And plus, to source things, I would have to drive to Pensacola. But if I hear people all the time saying that, and I do a little tracking, and they live in a city. If you're living in a city, you don't have the money you want to eat a raw food diet. You don't have the money you want to get ahead, to buy some of the things, go on a trip, start a sideline business. Get out there and hustle. Figure out a way to make it. That, once again, what are the obstacles that are real and what are the obstacles that are imagined, and how bad do you want something? Listen, the food part, I'm kind of in this train of thought these days because I struggle in other areas. I don't ever want it to come across on this channel as condescending, like, here's what you do. The food just, it tends to be a real easy thing for me. It's just kind of like, you just eat it. You eat fruit. That's why sometimes I'm not that good at helping people, because I'm just like, well, what do you mean? I don't understand. What do you mean? How do you do this or that? You peel a banana, you eat it. You make some banana and ice cream. You eat some fruit. You eat some greens. It's not rocket science. But then, when I'm not on camera, I have certain areas like certain lazy patterns, lazy habits, not good work habits that I'm having to reestablish. And those are the things that I struggle with. And I try to take these things that I talk about in here with the food and apply them in other ways. And that's what I'm doing, you know, with my work days, with my workflow, what have you. Because I'll tell you something, I've been a little stagnant in that. I've been a little kind of a ne'er-do-well for years, and now I'm starting to see, I've been living on some, you know, I sold a couple of properties last year, and I said, okay, that gives me a little breathing room. Don't want to blow through that money, and I don't want to use it unwisely. So let's take that money, let's invest it to get to a certain place. Well, I haven't had to invest that much except in designers and what have you, but I've found my thing now with t-shirt business, with retail, with e-commerce. So I got to double down and I got to make that work so I can live the lifestyle I want to. You know, it's as simple as that. And I had to just, like, you know, face some realities myself. I said, you can't keep bumming around in Costa Rica like you've been doing, like, you know, watching a place, house sitting, having a couple of consulting things, but still having to dip into savings and retirement to do that. So I had to reestablish some things with myself, and I had gotten a little bit lazy. I had gotten a little bit complacent. So I'm having to rewire. And as I'm rewiring my brain in other areas, I want to share that kind of stuff because I think it can be beneficial to other people. But sometimes you just have to shake things up. And I'll finish off with this. I had a little note here. Yesterday I talked about adjustments. And sometimes it's about, you know, not being heavy-handed. You don't need to completely redo everything you're doing. Sometimes you just need to make these little adjustments. Well, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you're just doing it the wrong way. You're going in the wrong direction for what you're trying to accomplish, and you have to come up with a completely new plan. So anyhow, think about that. Only you know what is holding you back. What is holding you back? That's the first step. Defining what's holding you back from getting what you want like I say, in your diet, in health, in your career, in money, in your relationships, whatever. You define what's holding you back, or which obstacles are real, which obstacles are imagined. Problem solving. What's my plan? How am I going to attack this? How can I get from point A to point B in the in the quickest, most efficient way. Anyhow, just a few ideas there. Like I say, I'm kind of just flowing as I'm thinking about things. So this is actual sharing in real time. I hope you'll find some of this stuff useful. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and I will see you guys again tomorrow. Peace.